Okay, so this is apropos of probably nothing, but a lot of times I think things just, there is a synchronicity to things. I gotta finish out part 3 of the Groomers and the Chicken Hawks, and so I gotta do that. You gotta work, you gotta, produce content. But so in the meantime, though, real quick, before I throw these photographs away, I want to document them. They're totally random. It was at an antique store, and it's very interesting stuff you can find in bins, like old photographs and stuff. And it's like, what was going on here? And I have a feeling it's related, but we'll see. Here, let's check it out real quick. We gotta hurry. Let's see what this one is. Okay, let's try the first one. Everybody cool? Yes, I think we're all cool. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Who are these guys? What's going on there? Don't mind my fingernails. I'm a painter. Yeah, what's up with that? Look at that crowd. I don't know. I find that fascinating. Like, what's up with that? And there's like some Chinese language or who knows what. Hey, what's this one? I only have 4, and then I'm going to throw them away. This one is really weird. That's an old photograph. Yeah, what's going on there? I don't know. I don't know. I grabbed those out of a bin. This one's just kind of basic architecturally cool. I'm thinking it's probably... kind of looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, but there's a lot of... Look at that car. It's almost like a Studebaker right there. Look at those cars. Good grief. All right. I don't know, but look at that. People built that. Men built that. While their wives stayed home and cooked and stuff, and then they got home and went, man, I nearly fell off. Okay, what's this one? Now, this one's kind of interesting. This one could almost go into the realm of Tartaria or ancient monoliths. I don't know. I have no idea where that's at. Those are just weird photographs that I'm gonna throw away because I tend to be a collector. Okay, so let's get right to the point. So the part 3 of my getting hot. Part 3 of my story was, okay, so I'm working in a music store about 1980 out not too far from Charlie Manson. He was in Woodland jail. We're talking Northern California, Sacramento, Davis. I was working in Woodland at a music store, and I had a motorcycle that after a couple cars, I decided would drive from Davis to Woodland, which was about 25-mile drive. I don't know. But the fog would lay low, and so you'd have to stand up on the motorcycle and look over the fog at the middle of the night on these 2-lane highways that went through the tomato fields of Sacramento, Upper Basin, whatever that is. And I work in the music store. And I started... somebody came in and they had a band, and I've been a musician forever, and I had my keyboards and stuff, and so somehow we got talking to one of these guys. He looked like Jerry Garcia. He was the leader of the band, him and his wife sang. she was the lead singer, and she was all right. They were all right. And it was a bunch of firemen. It was like a fireman, and then they had a side band, and they did country music, which was not my cup of tea. I was into experimental soundscape, as usual, kind of Art Deco, Art Nouveau, eclectic, off the corner stuff. But I like playing in bands, and I'm like, sure, I'll be your keyboardist. So I started playing keyboards in the band. And we're singing stuff like by Linda Ronstadt. It was kind of country rock, and they were all firemen. Well, 2 of the fellows were Faye, and they were buddies. And And then there was the husband and wife, and then I was the keyboardist that kind of got pulled in. And so I'm playing keyboards at these shows, and it was nice because they had booked gigs like for the firemen people and clubs and all kinds of stuff. And I'm just over there playing keyboards. Of course, I wanted to be up front singing and doing all the business, but it's like, no, this is fun. It was a paying gig. And I'm probably 17 at that point, maybe about 17 to 18 years old. And I'm playing, and this big old somewhere, okay, I got to cut to the chase, make this quick. We did a lot of gigs. It was nice. It was good work. It was like good paying gig work around that area. And we got a gig that was like way up. It wasn't in Napa, but it was up in the hills, and it was like at a weird convention hall or something, and it was a Scottish festival. Okay. Well, and I'd noticed there was this, you know what they call a bear? There's like bears and twinks. Well, it was like a big burly guy. He took a cotton to me, as did some of the gals and whatnot, and I'm just minding my own business. I'm just playing doodly doo, poncho and blah blah and all the songs, all this stuff. I had to learn all these country songs, which I did. But this one was like, oh, this is like a special Scottish event. And I would not blame you if you thought Scottish masonry. It could have been like that, but Scottish is like, you have to learn the Scottish national anthem, or some Scottish song, and it was literally like, and I had to learn it like I had about a week or two to learn it on synthesizer because it was a country band. But this music was like, and then they had dances that went along with it, and they all knew the dances and stuff. So I had to have it like note for note. So I had to sit there and memorize the whole thing on my synthesizer. And they're going do. So we went to that thing, and we killed it. It was nice, good show. Got paid, got out of there. Well, this cat kept showing up, the bear, and I don't. Thank goodness I don't remember his name. I don't even remember the band's name. It was like Country Fox or like I have no idea. And that's just fine. And it was the Firemen, and they had a country band, and I was the keyboardist. Okay, so. But then this big old burly, he'd kind of look like Grizzly Adams or whatever. He'd come up, and he kept showing up at the music store where I worked. Would you like me to tune your trumpet? And I did music lessons there. Used to go do pianos. Did all, I did music. I taught auto harp, piano, guitar. Anyway, this cat kept showing up, and he kept showing up at the gigs. And I was kind of, what was funny is I was actually getting ready to go on a Mormon mission at the time. I was a teacher. I taught Sunday school in the Mormon church there in Davis. But I was kind of, that's another story, but I was kind of like, I don't know. And so that wasn't my hometown. This cat, anyway, somehow invites me to his mansion with him and his friend, and for dinner. And I'm like, hey, I'm interested in people. I'm cool. Plus, I've been looking for backing, just without any strings attached, for my music and art and everything, like forever. Problem is, there's always strings attached, which is why I'm not rich and famous, because I never took the ticket. I never went for it. Anyway, this guy is like, I'll come over, have dinner. We're sitting there having dinner. And that's not the only time. Oh, there was another one. Oh, in Florida. Yeah, you got these guys, I'll invite you over for dinner. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm in the prime of life. I'm like 17, 18, athletic, just bad, a cool cat, let's just say. But I'm reading like, at that point I was reading Well, things that most people in their whole life don't read. I'm mental. I'm like thinking God and philosophy, and also had an eye on politics and whatever. So I go eat dinner. We're sitting there eating dinner. It was a very fine dinner. It was like sort of fancy, and they were very careful. They're like, hey, it's all good. So what do you want to do? You're really talented, and and you've got the it factor and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I want to do my own stuff. And oh, it's fine. Well, and then they started getting into, well, I don't know. Somehow they swerved the talk into Fae talk, and by Fae, you know what I mean. And I'm just like, but in those days, people were respectful. Nothing got wild. They were just like testing me, but I had barriers. I'm like, okay, I can talk to anybody about anything. And I'm a little bit flamboyant, obviously, but I ain't going there. So they're like, yeah, well, did you know? They started talking about all their connections in Hollywood and in the music business. And like, you've got talent, kid. Well, he was Scottish, but... and had the royal insignias on the house. It was like a multi-million-dollar mansion, and like 2 dudes living in it, and all these rooms and all that. This is called Grooming, and I'm like, well, and they're like, well, David Cassidy. We know David Cassidy. He's Faye, and I'm like, well, I'm not surprised, but so they ran off a bunch of. They're basically saying. So, everybody's doing it. It's like, it's what you do. And we can take you places. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not all, and I might have said that at the dinner. I'm like, well, I don't know about all that. It's interesting. I mean, I'm not surprised. And then he just kept on. He started hounding. And then it was kind of, well, and at the time, I was about to leave town and actually go back home, back to Zion, in the Wasatch Mountains area. I'd had enough of California there for a bit, and plus I was getting ready to go on my mission. Although I was starting to have real doubts about it. That's a whole other tale that you'll find on my Patreon, Major Tom Reports Patreon. I'll get into all the spiritual, religious, godly stuff. But for this, we'll just stick with the tawdry. So he invited me back with an offer, kind of like, hey, if you need somewhere to stay, you can stay here. I got to get my Scottish accent because I'm not doing it. But he's like, you can stay here. And I'm like, well, I'll come check it out. And it's like on my way home from work, had my motorcycle. I'm pretty butch. And I've always, I'm a dude. It's like, yeah, come on. And so he's like, here. No, really. There's a room right here, and he shows me this little bedroom, and there's a bed and a chair, and so I kind of sit on the bed, and he's like, so what do you want to do with your life and all that? I'm like, I want backing for my genius musical mind. I have a whole, opera developed symphony, anyway, my own stuff. He's like, oh, that's all right, but he's like, well, how did he say it? Well, he actually didn't have a Scottish accent, but he was Scottish. He was connected, some high-level family Scottish line. And he's like, all right. So he leaves the room, and I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on here? And I'm just being friendly. He comes in, and he tosses out some brochures and magazines. He's like, check out these clothes. And it was like high-end, I don't remember not LL Bean, but like high-end. And you can pick out any clothes you want in these if you're interested in these. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I mean, I dig that. And then I just looked at him, I go, but I'm not gay. I mean, I'm not fey. Just so you know. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not saying. He's like, oh, I know, you're not. I know, that's fine. But you can sleep in this room and, we'll cover all your expenses. And I'm like, well, that's tempting. But just so you know, I'm not fey. I mean, like, I'm not into that. We're not doing doodly dot and all that. I'm like, no. And so, I gotta hurry. So he's like, and he could tell, dang it, he's not falling for it. And I'm like, well, and I go, well, and then I thought, well, can we cut to the chase? How about listen to some of my music? So I went in, had a big grand piano in a big giant room. And so I went in and started playing Tom Diodo, the king of puppet rock. One of my better songs that I wrote when I was like 15, but just flourishing. It's about being lonely and an outsider and all that. And he's like, whoa, and he's sitting on the end of the bench. He's going, we will take you on the road. We can do it. We can do a whole tour, and we'll finance the whole thing. And you're amazing. You can do a one-man show. And I'm like, well, that sounds awesome, but I'm not Faye. It's like, oh, yeah. See, they think they can break you down. Couldn't break me down. No. And he's like, and then I think he figured out, he was pretty smart. He figured out at the end, he's not going to get anywhere today with anything or in the future. He goes, well, I'm like, well, I got to go. And he goes, can I take a ride on your motorcycle? And I'm like, really? And he was like, I don't know, 230. He was a bear. And I was probably 150 pounds, I was prime of life, 145, 5'11 and a half. And just, an Adonis. And he's like, can I ride on your motorcycle? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, come on, man. And I'm like, okay, I'll drive you around the block, and then I gotta go home because I'm getting creeped out. And he's like, okay, so I did. I'm a nice guy. I'm polite. So he got on the back of and it was a cool, I love that motorcycle. It was a Suzuki 350. And it could carry both of us. I went around the block, and he put his arms, he didn't do anything weird, but it's like, ugh, this creeper is funking, he's a fudging, got his arms around me a little bit, and I'm like, I don't put up with that, and then drive you back home, and see ya. And that was the end of that. But he kept pursuing. It ended in I eventually did go back home, where I am now, the homeland. Came back home and started up one of the best bands that nobody knows about, International Man. More on that later. Fantastic band. 1982, 1983. I'm going to post stuff if anybody cares. But point is, I get, because people used to stay in touch those days. You didn't have cell phones, so you traded phone numbers. I liked the guy. I mean, he was a cool guy, all that. It's just, I'm not fake. It's like, I'm not into that part. I do like the backing part, and that you got tons of money, legacy money, millionaire, Illuminati money, or whatever it is. Just give me the money, let me do my art. Well, but there's always strings attached, and that's the part I never would do. And they get mad. Oh, we can make a bundle off you, kid. And I'm like, well, I know. I'd rather be poor and not sell my soul. And so, anyway, and also do weird stuff that I'm not. And I'm like an ascetic. Like, I've renounced the world several times over. I'm like a monk. I'm like an ascetic, okay? And into God and holiness. Anyway, so I ended back home. I get like a letter. Hey, me and his little buddy, so the bear and the twink, whatever, suddenly are coming to my home city after months after I'd left. So he's still pursuing. We'll be here and there. Can you meet us there? We'll just go to dinner and that. But I already hadn't started up my band, my new band. And it was like, and then I sent, and we used to write letters to each other. You didn't leave voicemails and stuff. You wrote letters. And I probably have the letter. I could look for it. I'm like, it was basically, I can encapsulate it. I gotta hurry. How much time we got left? Oh, crap, this is too long. So I gotta hurry. I'm like, hey, Fred. No, it wasn't Fred. that was a different person. I'm like, hey, but yeah, I'm probably not gonna meet you downtown for dinner with your buddy. I'm busy doing my band, and I'm also not Faye. And he's like, and I got this angry letter back. I'm sorry that you have struggles with your sexuality. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like he's like, he got rebuffed. But anyway, that was that one. And that was kind of the last big one. I mean, they're nonstop, but at least in those days, it was like nonstop, trying to get me to take the ticket and trying me to get across the line and sell my soul for fame and fortune. Hence why I'm wearing old coats and just being a real dude and staying true to the mark. I can get wild. I've been around the block a few times in various ways, but like, yeah, no. Nope. Nobody, nope. Nope. All right, so that's the end of part 3. Have a lovely day. And hopefully this worked. You never know. What's going on out here? Hey, let's just take a look at this tree. I love this tree. Yeah, don't look at that stuff. Yeah, let's see if the mountains are doing anything. You want to get blinded light? Can we see the mountains? Yeah, you can see stuff. Well, there's some trees. Yeah, those trees are way too big. That dummy over there planted those big trees, and they're gonna fall over and crash on that house. Anyway. Well, and then there's these guys, in case we get, when I get to my Western history and stuff. And goodbye. I had about enough of y'all. Part 3. If you don't mind, that'll be the end of that. Sayonara. Wait, is there a dog? Wait, do we still got a dog? Wait, you got a star in this. Hi, buddy.